Let's bring in tech analyst Carmi Levy, who's back with us here. Oh boy, now this fight is heating up. They're going to get their 15 minutes. Your thoughts here?
Oh, let the games begin. There's no question, Todd, that TikTok is fighting for its life, and it basically gets one chance to prove to the court that the case that the Department of Justice, the U.S. government, has brought essentially has no merit. They're arguing that constitutionally it violates their and their users' First Amendment rights. They also say that technologically it's impossible to transfer the technology from a Chinese-owned company to an American company without compromising what makes that platform unique in the first place. And we know that the Chinese government has refused to allow that technology transfer to happen. So it all comes down to this. It's not a jury trial. It's three judges. They're going to make a fairly quick decision. This is not going to go on for weeks. This is happening today and now, and then it's done. And then they retire to their chambers to make a decision. So literally the future of this company hangs in the balance, because if it doesn't go their way, they really don't have a whole lot of options left to them. They will be essentially looking at that cliff face. You either shut down, sell yourself, or you're done.
What about the U.S. government in terms of evidence that this is really, truly a national security threat or not? And, sort of these claims that we've heard, about TikTok.
Well, I mean, a lot of it comes down to what the Department of Justice has said. They're saying, trust us. We have evidence that this is problematic, but we can't show it to you because of national security concerns. So they're actually going to go into court and they're going to use that argument, and they're not going to be able to share much of the proof that they've said that they have. So how will that land with the judges? Who really knows? But I mean, at some point, you've got to prove that this is problematic and not just say, trust me, with a nudge, nudge and a wink, wink. And that's ultimately what we fear this case is based on. And the judges may not go for it. They may quash the case just based on that.
Any sense what the effect is here in Canada for people who love TikTok, Carmi?
Well, we'll still be, even if things go entirely south for TikTok in the US, we as Canadians will still be able to download the app from the App Store here. We'll be able to continue to use it because the servers that support the apps will continue to feed into Canada, just not the US. But it will have a significant impact here in Canada because we know that millions of Canadians use the app, not just to watch videos of their friends dancing, but to run their businesses. They sell things on them. They sell to Americans. Suddenly, their entire market will drop off south of the border. It will have a very significant residual impact on Canada, and it's going to hurt here too.
And we know the Canadian government often takes a page from what the U.S. government does, especially when it comes to things like national security, and there could be pressure, phone calls made between Washington and Ottawa. See how that plays out. What about the politics, though, of being seen anyway to go after a social media app that is so popular?
This has always been more of a political football than a technological one. We know that Donald Trump, during his administration, started the process. He signed an executive order giving them 45 days to sell themselves or face a shutdown. The company succeeded in getting a temporary injunction then and essentially stopped the process. Then, of course, the Biden administration weighed in and passed their own law earlier this year. So it has ultimately come down to the litmus test of national security concerns between the U.S. and Canada, between the U.S. and China. And unfortunately here, TikTok finds itself the poster child for all that ails the U.S.-China relationship. There are many other companies that are structured very similarly to TikTok that use very similar technologies that cross these borders. But TikTok is the biggest, most obvious ones. They've become the political target. And unfortunately, they're the Pied Piper for the entire industry. And if they fail, ultimately, you can expect other companies to be targeted in a similar way.
Tech analyst Carmi Levy. Thank you, Carmi, for this.
Appreciate it, Todd. Thanks.